guys, this is Kerry.
And Joel.
And we are the quiet voice of truth. So, we are going to be taking you through some Q drops. And this channel is primarily going to be for people who are brand new to the QAnon movement, who are just starting to hear a lot of crazy stuff, and who are curious. But when you go to the Q boards, you're overwhelmed and you just have no idea what the heck you're looking at. So we're just going to be kind of walking you through from the beginning.
Yep. And hopefully for a lot of people who are overwhelmed by everything they're seeing, or even if you haven't heard of Q, we're just going to start from the very beginning for you. We're going to take you through all the posts up to date through a series, and just try not to, just let it wash over you right now. Don't try to absorb it all, but we'll have these up for your reference.
Yeah, and anything that we say, we're just going to basically be trying to help you figure out what's going on. Like Joel was saying earlier, a lot of things are open to interpretation, so obviously we don't have all the answers, but we just want to help you to kind of like figure out. Okay. And we'll probably do like, I don't know, how many do you think per episode?
Probably 1 million, because there's a lot of Q posts.
Okay, so we better get started if we're doing 1 million.
Yeah. So buckle up and let's get started.
All right. So, you want me to take number 1?
Sure.
All right. So Q post 1, as you can see on the screen over here. This is October 28th, 2017. That was the very first Q post, the days that QAnon started posting. And so when I look at this, I get a little confused because it's hard for me to tell right away if the top one with the little box that says anonymous, if that was Q. So when I was looking at it first, I used to think that was Q, but it's not, right, Joel?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes Q will repost some of their earlier posts. We can't really say Q is a him or her because Q is a collective that are working with our president. Less than 10, but more than 5, and that's really what we know for right now. There's some suspicions out there of who might be on the Q team, but until we know anything for sure, we're just going to leave that up to your own interpretation.
Okay, so we just went ahead and isolated this very first post so I could kind of show you what I'm talking about. So up here is going to be a response to what Q says down here, and sometimes this will be Q, right? Okay.
Yeah, reposting.
Or it's just another anon that's posting something in response to what Q posted. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is important to keep in mind that Q started out on anonymous messaging boards on the internet, first being 4chan back in October of 2017, and then later migrated to 8chan, and then later what's now known as 8kun. Because they're constantly under attack, because a lot of the stuff that they're putting out there, a lot of the information is very detrimental to what people refer to as the deep state or cabal, which is a group of very, very powerful elite people who rule the world.
Right. Okay, so just let's go through Q post number 1. It says, HRC extradition already in motion effective yesterday with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged effective 10:30 at 12:01 a.m. Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. USMs will conduct the operation while NG activated. National Guard.
Probably.
Proof check. Locate a National Guard member and ask if activated for duty 10:30 across most major cities. So right away, we're starting off with some crazy stuff in the very first Q post, and this is actually what causes a lot of people to say, well, obviously that never happened, so Q must be a LARP or something false, right? Mm-hmm. So yes. What would your response to that be, Joel?
My response to that would be something along the lines of misinformation is necessary. We have people, yes, believe it or not, even Hillary Clinton watches the Q board because what Q is putting out is the highest level clearance information. Q level clearance information, if you will.
Right.
There's levels higher, I'm sure, but for what's being put out here to the public, it is very, very bad for them. Very damning in some cases.
Right. So the bottom line is that basically these dates are not going to be accurate dates. So when
Right.
it says October 30th of 2017, this is happening right now or tomorrow or in a week or whatever,
Right.
it's not going to be the exact date because that would be ridiculous for them to tell the bad guys ahead of time when they were going to be coming to get them,
Right.
basically.
It's as anons we're told not to put dates out there or project dates when things are going to happen, because what happens is people get their hopes up for something happening on a certain day, it doesn't happen, and then you have a huge falling out of one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful movement in the history of humanity. Quite literally, this is the fight for our planet happening right now.
Exactly.
It's quite a time to be alive.
It sure is. And another thing about this very first Q post is it seems startlingly like this could happen any day now, right? I mean, especially with all of the emails that have come out from Hillary Clinton and like the server and all of that stuff, and the fact that she is supposed to be appearing. Okay, so she's basically been indicted and she keeps appealing, having to appear, and she keeps getting denied, right?
Right. It's
Okay.
kind of a checkmate at this point. There are some things that are set up. I suppose the best way to look at it is our president, who is constantly slandered by the media and every outlet of news is constantly slandering him, and you really have to ask yourself why. Because if you think about it, no other president in this country's history has been attacked as viciously and relentlessly as President Donald J. Trump. You need to ask yourself why. That's the biggest starting question. Why is he being attacked so hard?
Well, that was actually a huge eye-opener for me because I have not ever really considered myself a Republican at all. And I honestly didn't like Trump at first.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a combination of starting to see QAnon posts coming out and at the same time just seeing the way that the media and all the celebrities and everybody just like went crazy attacking him.
Yes.
And it was the most bizarre thing I think I've ever seen. And so that
Yes.
right there was a huge eye opener for me to be like, I want to cuss right now. Why the F do they hate him so much? Like, what do they have to lose with him winning this presidency? So, yeah.
Now, there's a few reasons why they did attack him right off the bat. The biggest being that they didn't know what he was about, because he wasn't taking any big corporations' monies. He was in nobody's pocket. He paid for his entire campaign. And once elected, he went straight to the people. He didn't ask corporations for money. He asked for the money of American people. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he is working for us. We are paying him to work for us through our donations. Exactly. And that's what scares them the most.
For sure, because he's not in their pocket. Is that the right way to say that?
That's exactly right. He is by the people, for the people.
Yeah, and he can't be bought. That's amazing. We've never, ever had a president, to my knowledge,
that we've ever seen in our lives.
That we've ever known, yeah, that wasn't able to be bought in some way.
Right. So should we get on to the next post
Yeah,
then?
if we keep going at this rate, we're not going to get through any.
All right. So on to post 2. Headlines: Hillary Clinton. Might as well call her that. It's probably the truth. Hillary Clinton detained, not arrested yet. Anonymous, which in the early days was Q, but so it reads: Mockingbird, HRC detained. HRC standing for Hillary Rodham Clinton, not yet arrested. Where is Huma? Follow Huma. Huma being Huma Abedin. This has nothing to do with Russia, yet. Why does POTUS surround himself with generals? What is military intelligence? Why go around 3-letter agencies? CIA, FBI.
Mm-hmm. Wait, stop real quick. For those of you who don't know who Huma Abedin is, can you tell them?
She was Anthony Weiner's wife.
Right. Okay.
The Anthony Weiner, who had an insurance file on his laptop. He got in trouble for sending inappropriate, explicit sexual images to an
To a
underage
minor.
girl.
Yeah, okay. Oh my goodness.
Anthony Weiner literally showed his wiener.
Yeah, he's disgusting. And yeah, well, we could go on about that, but
let's move on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Why go around the three-letter agencies? What Supreme Court case allows for the use of military intelligence, I believe that's what that stands for, MI, not sure, it could mean something else, versus congressional assembled and approved agencies? Who has the ultimate authority over our branches of military without approval conditions unless 90 plus in wartime conditions? Kind of like what we're at right now. Trump said he's a wartime president. And you got to keep in mind, folks, this was posted in October of 2017, but there's more on that later. Where is AW being held? Why? And I believe AW, what would we say, Anthony Weiner?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Okay. That sounds good for right now, but it could be something else.
Who knows?
This biggest thing you can do is when you ask yourself why, don't go to the news to answer those questions. Search for yourself. The biggest thing Q has led people to do, and the reason it is called the Great Awakening, is because you must search for the answers yourself.
Right. It's all about thinking for yourself, doing your own research, coming to your own conclusions, all of that stuff.
Yes. Don't even let us sway your opinion on this. It's nice to be able to guide you into this, but ultimately it falls to you, the individual, to research it for yourself and find the truth for yourself.
Seriously. Okay, keep going.
POTUS will not go on TV to address nation. POTUS must isolate himself to prevent negative optics. POTUS knew removing criminal rogue elements as a first step was essential to free and pass legislation. Who has access to everything classified? Do you believe HRC, Soros, Obama, etc. have more power than Trump? Fantasy. Whoever controls the office of the presidency controls this great land. They never believed for a moment they, Democrats and Republicans, would lose control. This is not a Republican versus Democrat battle. This is important to keep in mind. It's never been about Democrats versus Republican, man versus woman, old versus young. None of that. Why did Soros donate all his money recently? Why would he place all his funds in an RC? Mockingbird, 10/30/17. God bless fellow patriots.
Okay, so what do you think RC is standing for?
I do know what that stands for. I just can't remember.
I know there's so much to keep track of, guys. Seriously, I've never had to keep track of so many people and dates and places in my whole life.
But if we find it, we'll post a graphic up for it.
Well, has he done anything lately that we know of? Has Soros donated all his money?
I don't know, but the guy is fighting a losing battle, that's for sure.
Yeah, and along the lines of Republican versus Democrat battle, there are bad guys on both sides. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, there's bad guys on both sides, guys. It doesn't matter where you go. There's sleeper cells everywhere.
All right, moving on to post 3. Open your eyes, Uranium One scandal. Open your eyes. It finally came out that Rod and Bob were key players in the uranium scandal. Don't you think POTUS, our president, would be tweeting about removal given clear conflict? Why did POTUS meet Bob under the cover of FBI director interview? Bob is unable to serve as director per the law. Gowdy comments on Comey. History will... POTUS has everything. Not everyone is corrupt. Fewer than you think. Follow Huma. Operation Mockingbird. Priority to clean out the bad actors to unite people behind the America First agenda. Many in our government worship Satan. Not about Republicans versus Democrats at this stage. Where is HRC? Why is the National Guard called up across 12 cities? Trust in your president. God bless patriots.
See, and I believe that what they're talking about here, so Rod Rosenstein was a former Attorney General of the United States.
That's right.
And Bob being, I believe, Robert Mueller, who led the investigation into the Russia collusion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if anybody watched the Mueller investigation,
Or read the book like I did, all like
Yes.
1,000 pages of it.
It was clear he was completely lost. It was almost like he didn't write the report himself.
It was ridiculous.
The biggest thing is to not trust what you're told by literally any mainstream media outlet these days. That's kind of sad to say.
It is sad.
But we are the news now. This is literally what it's come to.
Yeah, and
if
it
we're
is
not being
sad
told
because,
the truth.
Well, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's just sad to me because I remember days when you could trust the media, when CNN was a reputable company, you know, that actually told us the news, and that's just not the case anymore, and it's quite sad.
Yes, they are now officially the Communist News Network or the China News Network. And that should tell you just by saying that just how deep in their pocket they are. If any of you remember watching Trump from his early rallies and stuff, he would always be saying, China, China, China. Well, the whole thing was to think mirror. While they were screaming Russia, 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 Trump was saying China, China, China. They wanted you to look over here because they don't want you to see what the other hand is doing.
Oh, seriously. Like, I feel like China is behind so much of this. China is just involved in all of this. And if you are looking for a newspaper to read, I would recommend the Epoch Times. I have found it to be an excellent source of actual news, and it does talk a lot about the Chinese Communist Party and what's really going on over there. And yeah, this isn't a plug. We're not getting paid to tell you to go check out that paper.
You know, and a big thing, even with reading the Epoch Times, still think for yourself. Don't take anything at face value. We can't do that in today's times.
That's with
anything. Just cannot afford to do that.
That's with anything. Yep.
You know, it is sad when
it's just an actual newspaper that's going to tell you stuff that, like, you know, the LA Times and the New York Times and all those big mainstream ones aren't going to tell you anything about.
I mean, there's a lot of truth that's put out, but it's put out with so much red tape wrapped around it that it's hard to see what the truth actually is nowadays. That is why it falls on us, the people, we the people, to do our due diligence in finding the truth for ourselves and putting it out there for people to see, and we can collaborate with people, and maybe they have a piece of the truth, and we've got a piece, and it just fits together like a puzzle. All right, guys, so on to post number 4. This was posted October 29th of 2017. It says, POTUS 100% insulated. Some of us come here to drop crumbs. Just crumbs. POTUS is 100% insulated. Any discussion suggesting he's even a target is false. POTUS will not be addressing Nation on any of these issues as people begin to be indicted and must remain neutral for pure optical reasons. To suggest this is the plan is false and should be common sense. Focus on military intelligence, state secrets, and why that might be used versus any 3-letter agency. What Supreme Court decision, I believe that's what SC stands for here, open the door for a sitting president to activate what must be showed. Why is POTUS surrounded by generals? There we get that question again. Why is he surrounded by generals? Again, there are a lot more good people than bad, so have faith. This was a hostile takeover from an evil, corrupt network of players, not just Democrats. Don't fool yourself into thinking Obama, Soros, Rothschilds, Clintons, etc. have more power present day than POTUS. Operation Mockingbird. Patriots are in control. Sit back and enjoy the show. I do want to go over something here real quick. A lot of these timestamps and dates are actually keys that are used to tie together our president's tweets on Twitter, which is very interesting. We like to call them posting on deltas. So say Q will post something. 15 minutes later, the President of the United States posts something, and sometimes they're eerily similar. There's things, sometimes certain words or phrases you can pick out that Q posted that our President then posts. Our President and Q have both posted on what's known as a zero delta, which means they posted at the exact same time. So to say that it's a coincidence is completely false. You should put that out of your mind right away.
Right. And haven't there also been times when, like, something has happened, like, exactly a year or whatever, like, from the first post?
Sometimes these dates are actually something that's going to take place in the future. 1, 2, 3, who knows, 4 years down the road.
Right.
So this 2017 could literally be 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. It's very important to keep that in mind. That's why a lot of this people will try to write off Q as, oh, Q is fake, Q is false. Q posted this on in 2017 and it didn't happen.
Right.
And then 2 years later, down to the very minute, what Q posted 2 years ago
is happening. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
Let's go on to number... All right. Post 5 is titled Follow the Money. It's the Key. And this is dated October 29th of 2017. Follow the money. It's the key. What is Pelosi's net worth by way of one example? Why, coincidentally, is her memory apparently going? Cover for possible future indictment to plead what? What if John M. never had surgery and that was a cover for a future out if needed against prosecution? Why did Soros transfer his bulk public funds to a NP? So we're not sure what that means. Note this doesn't include massive slush funds that are pulled by several high-ups. Why did Soros' son have several meetings with Canadian Prime Minister, and how is that related to Clinton's? Can you rely on being able to board a plane and fly away? Why is MS-13 a priority? Nobody got this. Could people pay such gangs to kill opponents, and why, how to insulate against exposure? The truth is mind-blowing and cannot fully be exposed. Also, many are thinking from one point of view, U.S. only. This evil is embedded globally. U.S. is the first domino. Have faith.
Literally, like we said at the beginning, this is the fight for Earth. This is why some good videos that everybody needs to watch is Joe M's The Plan to Save the World, right? That's a good one to go watch. There's so many awesome patriots and anons out there that we would highly recommend any of you to check out. Some of them might be more your speed or people you're looking for, but awesome patriots who do their due diligence in researching this stuff. You know, we can send them to like Praying Medic. Really awesome guy, covers it. In the Matrix. You know, you got In the Matrix and
Love
Shady
those
Groove
guys.
over there. Carly, these guys are kicking butt. Incarnated ET on Twitter. These guys are just slaying it out there, and they do an awesome job with this stuff, guys.
Yeah, and
who else we got? We got so
Patriot
many.
Hour, Mike over at the Patriot
Mike
Hour
over at the
is
Patriot
amazing.
Hour.
And your SR22 report.
Yes,
That's a good
Dave,
one.
the SR22 report. Really awesome guy.
I just started watching that one, and that's
stuff.
pretty good. And then Jordan Sather, of course, but he talks about like everything, not just Q.
Right. He covers a lot of different stuff.
Right. So one thing I wanted to say about this, guys, is come on. We've all been watching documentaries about MS-13. We know that what they are up to, and it's no good.
And I can tell you guys, because I do have, well, we both do have personal experiences working in law enforcement.
Yes.
I used to work for a very big prison, and one of the baddest gangs in there, and I'm going to tell you right now, was MS-13. These guys, they just, almost like they had no consideration for human life at all.
So, just on that note, it would make sense that if the Democrats, in this case, were paying them to kill opponents, right? Like it says in this post, if that were a possibility, wouldn't that make sense that they would definitely
want the borders open?
Want the borders open.
Want these guys to be able to come in.
Outraged when their people that they have coming in. I mean, that's just one of the aspects.
That's just one reason.
One of the reasons. One of the things they have coming over that border.
Yes, and it's kind of like a double whammy with this, folks. The reason the border wall was put up in the first place was to stop human trafficking, and to stop people like this from coming into our country. It wasn't to stop the good people. That was a side effect. Of course,
they made it about race, though, to get all the bleeding hearts like me.
Right.
And everybody who is like out for humanity because we love our fellow humans.
Yes,
and we are not racist, and the whole thing is ridiculous. But originally, you know, when I heard about him wanting to put up a wall, I was outraged too, you know, because I've been kind of raised in that environment where like it's a humanitarian issue. It's
right.
You know,
one of the biggest things that sold me on the wall
is
when Trump said, you know, I spoke to I spoke to the Israeli prime minister, and he said, these walls, they really work. And I said,
Right.
yeah, why does Israel have, live behind walls? Why are they
yeah.
behind walls? Why do they have that up? Well, it's because it works, guys. It works.
Right.
You can tell who's coming in, who's going out. Nobody's getting in unless you know. It's one of those things. The MS-13, one of the biggest things, it was to stop them from coming in here, but also because they were trafficking women and children across the border, who then just become victims of an endless, ancient cycle of abuse, ritualistic abuse that's been happening since time immemorial.
Seriously, and the more you look into this, guys, the more it makes sense why Trump wants the wall. It is not a racist thing at all. And, I've come a long way because originally I thought that it was. I really did. Until I started realizing what the heck he's really trying to stop,
Right.
So,
it is one of those things you have to, especially right now, think logically and put your emotions to the side. Emotions are going to stop you from seeing the truth in this whole great awakening process. If you tie your emotions to anything that's being done, you're going to be railroaded and you're going to be discouraged.
Well, yeah.
Keep your emotions out of it, especially in this context, listening to what our president says and to what Q says.
Right, and it's not always easy to do.
It's not always easy to do.
Like that's
I agree.
so easy, but it's
easy.
not.
It's easy to get riled up and to get out of control. But the minute you see yourself doing that, step aside, take some breaths, recenter yourself, come back to it when you feel you're ready.
Well, yeah, and guys, a lot of this is emotional stuff, though. Like a lot of the things that are actually going on in our world are very much tied to our emotions. So it's hard to just step back and.
But it's been engineered that way for us because if we live in our emotions, we can't see the truth.
Exactly, I know.
We can't see it.
All right, let's try to get through one more post, and then we'll cut this short because, we've
we'll
been
just
talking
call it
a long
good.
time.
Can't really cut it short.
Yeah, no, it's kind of.
All right, guys, so we're moving on to post 6 here. It was dropped the 29th of October, 2017 at 7:48 p.m. And it says, POTUS is 100% insulated, continued. Now, what you're seeing here was the first part of post 4, but this is a continuation. And something else I want to say, this started on 4chan, and during that, on the anonymous messaging boards, we have what we call bakers. And people would come to drop crumbs, bits of information, right? And we call those crumbs, and then the bakers would take those, what we call bakers, and put together a bigger picture for us. Okay, so post 6, POTUS 100% insulated, continued. Dropped October 29th of 2017 at 7:48 p.m. Some of us come here to drop crumbs, just crumbs. POTUS is 100% insulated. Any discussion suggesting he's even a target is false. Follow Huma tomorrow. POTUS will not be addressing nation on any of these issues as people begin to be indicted and must remain neutral for pure optical reasons. To suggest this is the plan is false and should be common sense. Focus on military intelligence, state secrets, and why that might be useful, and why might that be used versus any three-letter agency. What Supreme Court decision opened the door for a sitting president to activate? What must be showed? Why is POTUS surrounded by generals? Again, there are a lot more good people than bad, so have faith. This was a hostile takeover from an evil, corrupt network of players, not just Democrats. Don't fool yourself into thinking Obama, Soros, Rothschilds, Clintons, etc. have more power present day than POTUS, because that's a false narrative.
Right, and that was a repost,
Follow the
basically.
money, yes.
Okay.
Follow the money. It's the key. What is Pelosi's net worth by way of one example? Why, coincidentally, is her memory apparently going? Cover for possible future indictment to plead what? Oh, what is that? Insanity?
Sounds kind of like Joe Biden
Oh,
these
yeah,
days.
that's weird. That's sad. That's elder abuse at this point.
Right.
Cover for possible future indictment to plead what? What if John M. never had surgery and that was a cover for a future out if needed against prosecution? Why did Soros transfer his bulk of public funds to an NP?
Oh, a nonprofit.
Yes,
That's
a nonprofit.
Yeah, okay.
Note this doesn't include massive slush funds that are pulled by several high-ups. Why did Soros' son have several meetings with Canadian Prime Minister, and how is that related to the Clintons? Why is MS-13 a priority? Could people pay such gangs to kill opponents and why/how to insulate against exposure. The truth is mind-blowing and cannot fully be exposed. These people are evil. Operation Mockingbird. And on a quick last note, Q's talked a lot about Operation Mockingbird, folks. What Operation Mockingbird is, if you're interested, we might go into that in another video later on. But basically, Operation Mockingbird, or you might have heard of Mockingbird Media, is where they parrot the same lines, the same rhetoric
Right.
on every news channel across the country.
Just a quick note
over
on
and
that.
over again.
More and more people have been posting that on Facebook, so that is awesome. So everyone who's posting that on
People are
Facebook,
waking
you
up.
are awesome.
This is
Thank you
good.
for showing that to people.
Yes.
And
And Kerry and I have been following Q since December of 2017, January of 2018.
yeah, we got in right a couple months after.
A couple months after
the
Q
first
started
post.
posting, and it's just been a roller coaster ride since then. But, you know, I mean, there's one of the biggest things that we've had to learn, because we get so discouraged or really happy when something happened. You know, one of the biggest things is to disconnect your emotions and see the truth.
Right, and it's not easy.
It's not easy. It's something that's definitely learned, because we've been, and I'm not saying don't be inconsiderate or like compassionless person. Definitely have compassion for your fellow man. We're all in this together, guys.
Right.
Whole world is watching right now. Where we go one, we go all worldwide. You guys, but when finding the truth, to have true discernment, detach from your emotions, see your enemy.
Right, because you really have to detach from your emotions in order to actually see the truth of what's happening.
Yes.
And that sounds really weird, but like, I don't know, I have found that to be the case. And also, guys, on a super positive note, people all over the world know about Q. Just look that up, and you can find pictures of people in like every country imaginable holding up Q signs, and where we go one, we go all. And
absolutely.
So that's pretty freaking amazing. We're all in this together, and you know, no matter how horrible and just terrible and mind-blowing and heartbreaking the truth really is,
we have to face
we
it.
have to. We have to face
things
it.
will not get better.
Exactly. And once we do, we're going to take these guys down, man, and take away all their power and take back our power.
We are going to be shown a world that we never thought could exist.
Yep. Definitely.
All right, guys. So we'll see you out, and where we go one, we go all. We'll see you in the next video.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.